Last year, remember, the Eagles melted down, right? And it's pretty much the same team. They made some upgrades in the secondary. They got a nice cornerback from Toledo. But they brought in one great player. And Saquon Barkley, from the New York Giants to the rival Eagles, has got a Babe Ruth Red Sox to the Yankees feel to it. I mean, that's what it felt like last night. Are the Giants going to be cursed for 100 years? The last 10 they have been. Saquon now is averaging more yards a carry, as he went for 255 last night, than the Giants are yards per pass. He's going to break the all-time potential record for a running back in one season. Scrimmage yards, rushing record, put on a clinic last night. Remember, it was about a year ago, we were lamenting that running backs just weren't getting paid and didn't have an impact. Well, the truth is they're not usually as valuable as quarterbacks or left tackles or pass rushers, or these days, due to rule changes, they're not as valuable as a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson. But there are exceptions. Christian McCaffrey the previous 2 years and Saquon Barkley with the Philadelphia Eagles. And by the way, not all front offices are equal. You know that and I know that. But some are playing chess, the Eagles, and some are playing Candy Crush, the Giants. We knew Saquon would be better because the Giants had a bad O-line, and Saquon was great. And they have a bad quarterback, and Saquon was great. And the Eagles are above average at both. In fact, I'd argue their O-line's the second best in the sport to the Lions. We also knew that the Giants didn't have any star receivers during Saquon's run. So, therefore, opposing safeties can cheat getting the buck. So the Giants had a bad quarterback, a bad O-line, no star receivers. You could cheat. When Saquon was with the Giants, you could cheat, and you still struggle to stop him. Now you go to a team with two great receivers, an excellent quarterback, the second best O-line in football, and yeah, it feels like, you're watching, it looks like he's faster. He's more elusive. So, we all knew it was going to work. That thing last night was one of the 4 or 5 best running back performances I've seen in my entire life. From a guy that just was classy, his teammates loved him, the fans loved him. All he ever wanted to be was a New York Giant. And remember the quote this offseason from Joe Shane, the New York Giants GM. Remember that quote? He said, "We're not paying Daniel Jones $40 million to hand off to a $12 million running back." Well, why not? Philadelphia's paying Jalen Hurts $51 million to hand off to him. Seems like it's working. You can't have an expensive running back and expensive quarterback. You can't if they're Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. If I was Cincinnati, I'd pay for Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Why not? They pay Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford, and they're going to pay Puka in a couple years. Why can't you do that? It's an offensive league. So Joe Shane is, Daniel Jones is gone. It's time for Joe Shane. Hit the road. This is Babe Ruth stuff. And we all knew it was going to work. What I watched last night is we now have 4 teams that can hoist a Super Bowl trophy. We knew Kansas City and Buffalo felt like it. We knew Detroit dominating people felt like it. Just throw in Philadelphia. Just throw in Philadelphia, because that was an all-timer last night, and couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It could not happen to a nicer guy. All he ever wanted to be was a Giant. All he ever wanted to do was wear the New York Giants blue. Fans loved him. Teammates loved him. We all got it. Like, memo to general managers. If you have a player with a bad O-line and a bad quarterback who is flourishing, he could be a wide receiver, he could be a tight end, he could be a running back, you don't give him to the rival team with arguably a great quarterback and the second best O-line and star receivers. If you couldn't see this thing coming from a mile away, you should not be the general manager of the New York Football Giants. Honestly, it is just insane. Can you imagine the Chargers getting Mahomes and Kansas City saying, we know he's good, but we can't pay Chris Jones and Travis Kelce and Mahomes? Well, Colin, that's different. Colin, that is totally different. That's a quarterback. You just watch the Niners the last 2 years. You watch their offense get transformed by Christian McCaffrey. You just watched San Francisco with a star running back transform their offense. It was on TV. I swear the Niner games were on television, and the Giants couldn't figure it out. All right, let's talk Chicago Bears. Bears are a fascinating 4-win team. I can't take my eyes off the Chicago Bears. So, in a weird way, losing in overtime to Minnesota yesterday was the best result possible. And let me explain. First of all, there's no doubt Caleb Williams is a star. On platform, moving left, right, playmaker, huge throws into, there were literally non-existent windows. That throw in overtime, or that throw to get him to overtime in the field goal is one of the best throws of the year. He looks like a number 1 pick. Power arm, moves well, super accurate. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator. Here's the good news. Caleb Williams can play. They got the OC out. They still can't win close games because that's the second issue and why it was the best result possible. Caleb's legit. As Jaden Daniels, kind of comes down, he's banged up, people have caught on. Caleb just gets better and better once they got a new play caller. That's the first thing. Don't have to worry about that. Get the right coach, you're fine. Every bit of that. Greg Cosell said last week, this kid's an all-time talent. The second thing is, once again, if you're going to lose and you're the Bears, you don't want to lose because Caleb plays poorly. You want to lose because Matt Eberflus is now 5-18 in one-score games. They can't win close games. They can't win Sunday road games. They can't win enough. Yesterday is a prime example. A botched punt return, a blocked field goal. This was there for the taking. Sam Darnold got hurt. They trailed in the fourth. Caleb comes flying back in, and then they go to overtime. And, what happened? Despite having all the dudes. They got dudes. Chicago's got dudes. Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson, great players. Keenan Allen was amazing yesterday. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore. They got dudes. And they got a dude at quarterback and at wide receiver and the defensive line and a top 5 cornerback. That's not the issue. The issue is they can't win on the road. They can't win close games. Everything's got to go perfect. That's not the NFL. Yesterday, the Lions didn't play well. They won. Kansas City didn't play particularly well, and they won. Buffalo against Miami didn't play well and won. You can't just win when you play perfect, flawless football. You got to be able to win when everything isn't right. That's what Philadelphia, Kansas City, Buffalo, that's what those teams do. And so I think it's a prime example. You can look up and go, every week with the Bears, circus special teams. Yesterday, Caleb's good. He's not good enough to overcome 80 yards in penalties and botched punt returns. Both of those, by the way, both the special team snafus resulted in Minnesota Vikings touchdowns. And then you get to overtime against Eberflus and the great defense, and Sam Darnold comes in off injury, goes 6 for 6, drives them down, big throws, walk-off field goal. So, my take on this is that's the way to lose. Caleb assures everybody in the building, dude can play. And Eberflus, once again, it's a circus. And we said this coming into the season. I picked the Bears to win 7 games. I'm not sure if they're going to get there now and finish 4th place. But you would feel, I said, you'll feel better about the team. With Justin Fields, nice kid, you really never felt like he was the future at quarterback. I know today you got the quarterback. You got dudes. You just don't have the right coach, the right staff. It's a circus every week. Now remember, this coaching staff considered benching Caleb Williams. You watched him the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, he's completing over 70% of his throws, 7.5 yards an attempt, 340 yards a game, and 100 passer rating. Again, Brian Flores is considered an elite defensive coordinator who I think deserves another head coaching job. So they were going to bench him. This staff, it was one of those, raise your hands if you think we should bench him. Here's the other good news, is that if you look at the schedule, it's brutal. At Detroit, at San Francisco, at Minnesota, 3 straight roadies. Detroit again. Seattle's playing well. I can't figure Seattle out, but they're playing well at Green Bay. So you're going to get another top 5 or 6 draft pick. So there's not all bad news. You got your star. You got dudes in the locker room. The schedule's tough. Therefore, you're going to get a great draft pick again. You got Rome Odunze. You got Caleb Williams last year. You got a corner I love. You got Montez Sweat. You got multiple receivers I like. I still think the offensive line is better than this coaching staff can build and get right. But, if you're going to lose, that's how you should lose, because you're going to get a new coach. I got nothing against the guy. He got a new hairstyle this year. He hipped it up. I really have nothing against him. But it's a circus every week. And you can't ask rookie quarterbacks, even talented ones, to hold the tent up every week. As the guy getting shot out of the cannon rips a hole in the tent every week. Right? Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.